Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. My name is Pooja Kotecha, and I'll be playing the role of Sergeant-at-Arms for today's meeting. I welcome you all to the 428th meeting of the Delhi Central Toastmasters Club. As everybody in their life has a mission to achieve their goals, likewise, our Toastmasters Club also has a mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. I would just like to share a positive note that I read somewhere. It was very inspiring. It starts with take action. An inch of movement will bring you closer to your goals than a mile of intention. I would like to now invite our president, the most charming and energetic person I know in the club, our stunning Shivangi Mittal. Over to you, Shivangi. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pooja, for that lovely introduction. And before we move ahead, I would like to request all of you, let's close our eyes and pray for world peace for 30 seconds. Right. Thank you, everyone. Well, today I don't want to preach you all. Today I want to tell you that Toastmasters is not a workshop or a soft skills course. It's a community-driven learning platform where we all volunteer to get together, participate, and improve. We perform and evaluate each other and learn together. Now, I often get this question, how can Toastmasters help me? Well, today I don't want to tell you all about how it can be this and that. I want to invite the club members to come up and share with us why they joined Toastmasters and what Toastmasters means to them. So for example, I'll start by saying that Toastmasters to me is a Tuesday ritual. Every Tuesday at 7, I lock my room, I set up my laptop and camera near to a charging plug and start toasting. So any of the Toastmasters who would like to volunteer and tell us what, I can see Toastmaster Khare raising his hand. Sir, please go ahead.
What I like about attending the Toastmasters meeting is specifically because you can experience the people experience, the members experience while they are delivering their speeches. They put their heart out. You can feel their emotion in terms of telling these stories, or they are just telling on any subject they are informing me. So it's not about like what you are learning, but at the same time you are getting a lot of knowledge from the people which you are not having a time to look at into all these things. It may be scientific, it may be some related to politics, or it could be anything. Like there are just multiple things you can learn from each one of us, and that's what I like about being in Toastmasters meeting, and you can benefit out of it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, sir. I can see Ritwik also raising his hand. Ritwik, please go ahead.
So not only seconding Mr. Rajinder Khare's statement about how we feel Toastmasters are about, I would add something that it's always to become a better impromptu speaker for me. And I believe that's the best way to inculcate the public speaking. And I feel that Toastmasters, especially the table topic segment, is something that excites me a lot. And this is the best way one can hone their communication skills.
Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else who would like to share with us? Any other volunteers? Toastmaster Rashmi.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Toastmasters is like a dream come true for me. It's a platform about which I used to dream. because in my city, I never had such a group where I could interact about something which could enrich me as well as others, share my knowledge with others or share my thoughts with others and get to know others' thought. I only dreamt about it. And it is only because of this platform that I have got this chance. And I believe it will always be beneficial to me as far as I can be a part of it. And moreover, like Ritwik, I have always dreamt to be a part of a platform where I can practice impromptu speaking. That's my dream, and I believe Toastmaster will definitely. It's the platform that's going to help me that way. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I think your smile tells us just how ecstatic you are to join the meeting today. Anybody else who would like to share their version of Tuesday evenings with Toastmasters? Anybody else who would like to volunteer and raise their hands, or maybe I can start calling their names like a teacher? Deepak sir.
Thank you, Shivangi. I joined Toastmasters in 2002. And the club that I joined then was the Toastmasters Club of New Delhi. And the club used to meet on Tuesdays. It was then the first and third Tuesdays of every month. We used to have only 2 meetings a month. And then, of course, we moved on to 3 meetings a month, and then we moved on to weekly meetings because the club started growing. But it continued to be on Tuesdays. And in 2013, when Central Delhi Toastmasters was going to be formed out of the Toastmasters Club of New Delhi, the members got together and started thinking about, pondering about which day of the week are we going to meet? Would we meet on some other day of the week other than Tuesday? Because the Toastmasters Club of New Delhi was going to meet on Tuesdays. And those members felt that we could perhaps go and attend both the club meetings, Central Delhi Toastmasters and the Toastmasters Club of New Delhi. But then, because Tuesdays was such a ritual that we needed to have our Tuesday fix, that the members unanimously voted that we will continue to meet only on Tuesdays, because it was ingrained in our DNA. The Tuesdays evenings was Toastmasters evenings. And that's how Tuesdays are for me. And I ensure that I don't set up any other meetings or events except if it's beyond my control on a Tuesday evening. So Tuesdays and Toastmasters are synonymous.
Thank you for sharing that, Deepak sir. Well, now you've heard it from Deepak sir, and I don't think anybody else needs to say anything more. So on that note, let's invite the guests. Why don't you share with us how you got to know about the club and what are your goals from your Toastmasters journey? So let's start with guest Siddharth. Would you like to go first?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Siddharth. I'm a software professional. Yeah. I heard a lot about Toastmasters in past many years. I thought of joining, but somehow I couldn't make it due to the lack of commitment, or I was occupied with something else. But I heard a lot about Toastmaster clubs in Bangalore when previously I was in Bangalore and in Delhi, and now I think I want to join the club and contribute and learn from each of the members. That's it.
Thank you for sharing that, Siddharth, and we hope you have a good time today.
Thank you.
Next, can we invite guest Rajat? Would you like to go next?
Am I audible?
Hi, Rajat. Can I please request you to switch on?
Sorry, I will not be able to turn on my camera right now. I will turn it on after a few minutes. So yeah. So basically, I got to know about Toastmaster an year ago in my company. So I'm from Bangalore, basically from SAP Labs. So over there, basically they told me that we also have the Toastmaster club, and Toastmaster is the place where we all people work on our communication skills, leadership skills, and like how we can improve our stage fear and all those things. So it's a great place. So over there I wanted to join, but because of this pandemic, so I was not able to continue over there. And after that I got to know about that, yeah, there are other clubs also that we can join, and after that, like, I started like looking for the Toastmaster clubs. So basically I'm from Jaipur right now, and I'm working over here as a work from home only right now. Okay.
Thank you for sharing that, Rajat, and we hope you achieve your personal development goals as part of the community.
Thank you so much.
Next, can I invite a guest whose name is AB? Can you please rename yourself and tell us what your name is?
My name is Aparna. Hi, Shivangi.
Hi, Aparna.
Yeah, my name is Aparna Bahuguna, and this is the first time I'm attending any of the Toastmasters meeting. I came to know about the Toastmasters Club from one of the YouTube channels. And after going through the website, I came to know that this platform is generally helps people to improve their communication skills, leadership skills, and helps in the personal development. And as I am from education background, I'm a teacher, and therefore I really want to join to improve all these things. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Aparna. And I must say, you landed on the doors of the right club. And I hope you achieve all those goals today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now I would request all the guests to stay till the end of the meeting to understand how Toastmasters meetings work. And today we also have a special segment for you called the table topics, where you can participate and practice your impromptu skills. So on that note, it's time to invite the host for today's evening, who is all ready with her camera. So, Toastmaster Rachel, it's now time to invite her with her theme, procrastination. Procrastination, Toastmaster Rachel Jain.
Hi everyone. How are you all doing?
Feeling ecstatic?
Great. Let me share the screen first. Hope it is visible. Can someone please confirm?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So let's start. What is procrastination? It is the action of unnecessary and voluntary postponing something despite knowing that there will be negative consequences of doing so. For example, if someone has a week to finish an assignment and he keeps postponing it until just before the deadline, that is a perfect example of procrastination. What can be the perils of procrastination? Well, it can be detrimental to yourself as well as others. It can shatter relationships. It is waste of time. Let's come to the first point. How is it detrimental to yourself as well as others? Some might be thinking, if it is detrimental to us, how it's gonna affect others? Well, we all are living in an interconnected world. Whatever we do will affect others in one way or the another. The repercussions of your procrastination will not only hurt you, but will have an effect on the people or the things around you. Let's take an example of a student who has been missing deadline for assignments or who has started studying late for the examination. Let's see what can be the repercussions here. It can lead to bad grades or even failures. If you fail, either you have to repeat your entire class or you have to retake the examination. It is not only a waste of time, but also wastage of money and resources as well. If you don't fail, doing last minute work could result in a lot of stress and low quality work, which result in lower grades than you are actually capable of. So the worst thing here is the bad grades would not only demoralize you, but your parents as well as your other family members also. Now coming, it can shatter, how it can shatter relationships. Delayed jobs can cause altercations and soar or shatter relationships between parents and students, between husband and wife, and between friends. When you are stressed for the time to complete your delayed task, you get frustrated and tempers may flare. As the deadlines draws nearer, you may feel neglected. You may neglect your responsibilities and ignore your family members also. Procrastination is a total waste of time. Time once lost will never come back. And with time goes the opportunities that comes with it. Now let me explain the agenda of meeting for the benefit of guests. Toastmasters meeting is generally divided into 3 segments. The first segment is the prepared speeches segment. The second one is the table topic segment. And the last one is the evaluation segment. Let me introduce with the auxiliary role players who will be helping in the journey towards improvisation in different fields. To keep track of time, please help me welcome the timer for today's meeting, Toastmaster Rashmi Sikri.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Time is the most precious thing in the world. Time once wasted cannot be regained back. So we must honor time and manage the time to the fullest. So for that, today I'm going to play the role of timer, and I'm going to keep the track of the time of various speakers. Let me brief you about the time limits. First, we'll be having prepared speeches section, wherein the time allotted will be 5 to 7 minutes. But the icebreaker section, speaker will get 4 to 6 minutes. Here, we'll have buffer time of 30 seconds on each side. Next section will be table topic section, and the time allotted to each speaker will be 1 to 2 minutes. Here also a buffer time of 30 seconds will be given on the upper side. The evaluators will be given 2 to 3 minutes to evaluate the various speakers. Various auxiliary role players will also be given 1 to 2 minutes to introduce the roles. And I will show the cards at various time limits. Let me show you how I'll be showing. Well, this green card will be shown when the speaker reaches the eligibility limit. Yellow card will be shown when the speaker reaches target limit, and red card will be shown at the end of the time allotted. 30 seconds buffer time will follow after the red card display. Sorry, I'm not able to end this share screen. Yes. So I'll be back with the report whenever called by the general evaluator. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster.
Yeah, thank you so much for explaining in a such brief way. To keep track of R's and ums, please help me welcome the accounter, TM Sanchit Bhushan.
Hello everyone. Ma'am, today I'm not feeling well, so I cannot play this role. Sorry for that. I'm really very sorry because I've been suffering from fever for last 2 days. So I'm feeling too much tired, so cannot play this role today. Sorry, ma'am. Thank you. Please take care of the things in the meeting. Hey, have you heard this thing while you were in school, you were in college, or your workplace? This is a live example of procrastination. A simple bad habit can make or can create hundreds of bad habits. We need to stop them. As a Martin Luther King said, if you need to improve, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You have, or you need to just take a first step. So this first step will let you track the whole mountain. So in this meeting, I will be playing the role of accounter, and I will note down the filler words like well, so, you know, and the filler sound like or etc. And such repetitive words or phrases such as I mean or this mean and long poses and short poses. I will present my final report in the evaluation segment, but don't forget, please try to abstain from using these filler words, these filler sounds in the whole meeting, and your speech will be marvelous. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sanchit. To help with the grammar, please welcome the grammarian, TM Sparshita Verma.
Good evening, everyone. I am the language evaluator for today. Given that we are talking about procrastination, I would like to give you some tips on how to avoid procrastination in your language learning. Language learning is a huge project, so it makes sense that at times you might feel overwhelmed or uncertain about the next step. So the go-to advice for this is to set small, quick little tasks that result in easy wins. And for this, I could tell you to do something like aim to speak without a pause for 30 seconds to a minute about yourself, or try to earn 30 points on Duolingo, or write a 500-word introduction to one of your hobbies and leave it at that. As a language evaluator, I will note down the good and not so good usages of English language. And now I will be introducing the word of the day and simultaneously posting it in the chat box here. So the word of the day is ecstatic, meaning extremely happy. Its synonyms are enraptured and elated. Its usage is as follows. Ecstatic fans filled the stadium. The new president was greeted by an ecstatic crowd. Let's try to use this word actively in the meeting. And also, the medium of the communication is English language. And if any speaker speaks in another language, then he or she is requested to translate it into English language. Lastly, everyone is requested to show a thumbs up whenever the word of the day is used. And I'll present my report in the evaluation segment. Thank you so much. Back to Tia Moti.
Thank you so much, Parshita. I request everyone to kindly switch on their cameras to make the session interactive. To inform us about the rules and regulations of Toastmaster meeting, please welcome the parliamentarian, Toastmaster Pooja Badoria.
Thank you, Achal. So very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests today. We all know how discipline helps people to build an attitude that becomes key to success. But many of us try to procrastinate our tasks often. So to avoid that, we can follow small rules, or you can say tips to eliminate the procrastinations. First one we can follow is to eliminate interruptions or any kind of distractions. We can break down large projects into small. We can prioritize one thing at a time. We can find our peak time of the day. I'm sure if we follow above things, we can become more disciplined and eliminate procrastination. My job as a parliamentarian today is to monitor that all rules are followed. Those rules are everyone should keep the audio muted at all times unless there is a need to speak. The phone should be kept silent throughout the meeting to avoid any interruptions. Please keep the video on at all times. Try not to indulge in any form of eating while on screen. The next rule is no negative references to caste, race, or class should be made. Topics like sex, politics, and religion are not taboo, but speakers need to be a little sensitive if they choose to speak about them. And I encourage all the members to follow all the rules to stay disciplined. I'll share my report at the end. Over to TM Achal.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pooja. Now to check how attentive you were in the meeting, please help me welcome the listener, Toastmaster Abhishek.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Listening is key to all communication and one of very important leadership skills. A communication is incomplete without a listener. A quick question to everyone. Do you want to work under a leader who don't listen to you? No, right? Or anyone wants to go to a doctor who don't have a time to listen to your problem and prescribe your medicine? Not really, right? So listening shows respect and regard to the speaker. If you want to become a great leader, you have to be a good listener first. By becoming a better listener, you can improve your knowledge, you can improve your productivity, you can influence other, you can avoid conflicts, and you can avoid misunderstandings. My role as a listener today is to carefully listen to all the speaker, frame some questions around the context of the speeches, and ask questions from members and the guest to test their listening skills. I will encourage to active throughout the meeting and actively listen all the speakers. You will definitely take away some new learnings today. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhishek. Finally, to make us laugh, please help me welcome the joke master, Toastmaster Praveen.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anshul. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. My name is Praveen, and I am playing the role of joke master. And my role as a joke master is to deliver a funny joke or a humorous message and set a fun tone for the meeting. So we all might have heard stories about CEOs of companies, like how they make great leaders, good communicators, and surely they have procrastination. So here's a little story. One person gets newly appointed as the CEO of a company. Feeling it was the need to shake up his company, the new CEO decided to get rid of all the employees who were sitting idle or used to procrastinate. So one day on a tour of all the facilities, the CEO saw a guy leaning against the wall, and the room was full of workers. And the CEO wanted to let all of them know that he meant business. The CEO walked up to the guy leaning against the wall and asked him, "How much money do you make in a week?" A little surprised, the young man replied, "I make $400 a week. Why?" The CEO handed the guy $1,600 in cash and screams, "Here's your 4 weeks' pay. Now get out and don't come back." So, feeling pretty good about himself, the CEO looked around the room and asked, "Does anyone care to tell me what that person used to do here?" From across the room, a voice came. "Actually, that was not the employee of our company. That was the pizza delivery guy from Domino's." So that was all. So hope you had a fun time hearing. So thank you, and back to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Praveen, for making us all laugh. Now it's time to move on to the first session of Toastmaster meeting, which is prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Toastmaster Samkit Jain. Before calling the first speaker, let's hear from his evaluator, TM Zubair, his speech objectives. Introducing Toastmaster Zubair.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Today, TM Samkit is going to present his Level 1 Project 1 Icebreaker. Icebreaker is always special. It marks your beginning, your official introduction to the CDTM family. The purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speech. Timer, note the timing is 4 to 6 minutes. I would like to say, allow yourself to be a beginner, to be a master one day. All the very best, TM Samkit, and put a dynamite on that ice. Back to TM audio of the day.
Introducing Toastmaster Samkit, for whom sports is his life and who wanna be a young sports entrepreneur. When I asked him the question, one thing he procrastinated and regret till date, his answer was, he regret not going to college daily during the first year. And because of pandemic, he went deprived of college fund during the rest of the years of college. So calling Toastmaster Samkit with his speech title, The Wings of Life. The Wings of Life, Toastmaster Samkit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anjan. So, it all started on 1st January 2000 Start of a new millennium, and a millennium boy was born. First child of new generation in our family. Mango lover and a notorious child. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I am Samkit Jain. As you all heard, a notorious child. Yes, you heard right. When I started to walk, there was no Almira from where I did not pick up goods and throw them here and there. You won't believe, when I learned to open drawers, my parents had to remove the handles from the drawers. Otherwise, I would open them, take out stuff, and throw it here and there. Then the new fun and exciting part of life started, the student life. It started from PlayStation school, from where ABCD of my life started. The favorite thing in it was the ball pool. I could literally play in it whole day. But sadly, after 2 years, I had to leave that and join Montfort Senior Secondary School. Then in the 3rd class, my journey of sports started. In the 4th class, I started taking basketball coaching, and then I never looked back. After 1 year of hard work, I lifted my first team trophy. And I think my words can't describe that moment. Then came the 6th class. It was a turning point of my life. I went for junior NBA trials and gave the best timings I could. I got selected for presenting Delhi on national stage. I was among the 5 athletes who were selected for presenting Delhi. Then the final day came. It was the junior NBA nationals final. Athletes from all over India came to participate. Everyone had one chance to give their best timings and win the competition. That day, I came to know the importance of every second of my life. I lost from a Punjab athlete by just 2 seconds. I came second all over India. But if I would have completed that in just 2 less seconds, I would have gotten golden opportunity to watch an NBA All-Star match from the front row, which remains the dream for all the basketballers around the globe. But I did not stop after that bitter loss. I won 11 tournaments in the next 2 years with my team. But because of all of this, I could not devote my time for my studies. And as I was in a Christian school, my teachers were very strict about rules and marks. But still, my priority and love always remained basketball. Thankfully, my parents were very supportive to me in basketball. They only expected some decent marks from me, which helped me in concentrating on basketball. Then side by side, day by day, my love for watching football started growing. In 2014, I started watching all the matches of FC Barcelona and started loving Lionel Messi. The Blaugrana colors and tiki-taka made me fall in love with them. My passion for watching football grew to new heights. And I still continue to play basketball in higher classes. In the 9th class, I got opportunity to go to Dubai and play basketball tournament. In that tournament, we learned that overconfidence can be the reason for your downfall. We reached semifinals and we had beaten our semifinals already in the past. So we were planning for the finals and did not concentrate on semifinals. This was the point where we lost our concentration as well as the semifinals. This taught us that overconfidence is not at all good. Though, when we came back to India and met that same Bengaluru team after a few months, we won against them in the tournament final. So our actions were our best revenge. I kept playing basketball till the last day of my school life. The applause from the students and receiving awards from the principal in the assembly still remains the best feeling of my school life. Then a new phase of my life, the college journey started in Sri Venkateshwara College, Delhi University. I met a lot of new people, new teachers, new coaches, and experienced very different environment. But still, the old basketball remained. I kept playing basketball in the college too. And by God's grace, I was made the team captain in the second year itself, being the youngest captain in recent years. But sadly, due to Corona, I could lead my team in only 6 tournaments. And rest of my college life passed at home only. But being at home gave me much more time for watching my favorite team, FC Barcelona. The way they play makes me fall in love with them. I think from last 5 to 6 years, I've not missed even a single match of them. The day it was announced that Lionel Messi is leaving us was one heck of an emotional day for me. So this is all about me. The wings these sports have given me remain priceless in my life. I can't be thankful enough to them for teaching me so much in my life and making me what I am today. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Samkit. I would request everyone to please give the feedback in the chat box. Our second speaker is Toastmaster Deepak Menon. Let's call his evaluator, Toastmaster Gajendra Khare, to read out his speech objectives.
Okay. So today evening, DTM Deepak Menon is delivering a speech number 1 from level 3. The path name is Effective Coaching, and I am feeling ecstatic to narrate the project objective of his speech. So the purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story with a speech or giving a speech that is a story. Best of luck, DTM Deepak.
Introducing Toastmaster Deepak Menon, who is a chartered accountant and a Toastmaster. Well, I believe he's the one who needs no introduction. When I asked him the same question about procrastination, he said he don't procrastinate. I find him the first one who said this. Calling Toastmaster Deepak Menon with his speech title, The Magical Power. The Magical Power, Toastmaster Deepak Menon.
I don't want to be a Toastmaster any longer. I'm going to leave Toastmasters. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, that was Ria on the phone. It was a cold winter night of December 2006. And it was very late in the night. She called me at 10:30. You'll of course be wondering, why was Ria calling me so late to tell me that she did not want to be a Toastmaster? So let me take you back to an earlier time that particular day. It was a Thursday evening, and it was the time for a Toastmasters club to meet. And I was at that meeting. There, Ria was presenting a prepared speech. Her speech project was Persuade with Power. And Ria happened to be a dentist. So guess what she was talking about? She was talking about how important it is for all of us to go to a dentist twice a year. Yeah, somewhat of a marketing spiel there. But so be it. It was a speech to persuade, after all. Ria's time came to deliver her speech, and she spoke well. And she gave us all the reasons why we needed to go to the dentist. Finally, it was time for the evaluation. And when the evaluator, and I'm not going to name him, came up to speak, he said, Ria, that was a great speech. I liked it. I have recommendations for you. And then the recommendations started. Recommendation 1, recommendation 2, recommendation 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, countless recommendations. It was a laundry list of recommendations. If you had been with me in that Toastmasters meeting that day, what would you have seen? You would have seen stunned silence from the audience. And you would have seen Ria, who was crying. There were tears streaming down her cheeks. The meeting ended on a very somber note. Nobody talking to each other. because of what had happened. It just seemed so weird. Toastmasters is so supportive, but that day, it didn't seem supportive. It was that night when Ria called me, still sobbing, saying, Deepak, I don't want to be a Toastmaster any longer. This is not what I joined Toastmasters for. I thought Toastmasters was supportive. I thought Toastmasters would help me improve. If I needed criticism, I could go anywhere in the world. I don't need to come to Toastmasters to get this kind of criticism, this kind of feedback. I listened to Ria. I knew there was nothing I could tell her that day that would help her change her mind, because she was in that state. But the next morning, I called back Ria and I told her, Ria, I request you to give Toastmasters another chance. She asked me, what do you mean? What do you mean another chance? Why don't you deliver the same speech that you delivered yesterday to another club? Deliver the same exact speech, make no changes, get a fresh evaluation. What do you say? No, I don't think so. I don't want to do it again. I'm quitting Toastmasters. Oh, come on, Ria. One more chance, one more opportunity. This will be the last time. I won't ever ask you again. Okay, if you say so, yes. Okay, when will it be? I'm going to try for tomorrow. Will you be available? Yeah, sure. Okay, please let me know. Next day was Saturday, and I managed a speech slot for Ria. Ria came that morning. It was a morning club at 10:30 in the morning. When the meeting started, Ria was there, looking a little nervous, lacking the confidence, but she nevertheless delivered her speech. Now that day, we had a visiting Toastmaster who'd come all the way from Colombo, Sri Lanka. He was Balraj Arunasalam, who of course later went on to become the international president. He was 2017-2018 international president. But that day when he was visiting, he was not an international president. He was not a district director. He was not a division director. He was just a plain ordinary Toastmaster. And I asked Balraj to evaluate Ria's speech. And Balraj agreed. But I did not tell Balraj about the debacle that had occurred a couple of days ago. Ria delivered the exact same speech. And when it was time for evaluations, Balraj had a lot of commendations for Ria's speech. But he had one recommendation. And that recommendation was, Ria, I think it would be a good idea for you to have had a different title to your speech. That was it. That was the only recommendation. If you had been with me that day at that club meeting, you would have seen Ria ecstatic with joy. She was beaming. Ria did not leave Toastmasters. She continued, and she continues to be a member even today. She has won many speech contests thereafter. She's taken up many leadership roles thereafter. My friends, we have the magical power to make or break, to destroy or build with our words. How we evaluate makes sure that a person wants to keep coming back to Toastmasters. I urge you all to use your magical power with compassion and with dedication. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really awesome. Our third speaker, I would request everyone to please give the feedback in the chat box. Now, our third speaker is Toastmaster Faiz Kamil. Calling Toastmaster Ritwik Dash, the evaluator of third speaker, to read out the speech objectives.
Thank you, Timot, for the recognition. Well, today the speaker is going to give his level 1 project 2 speech with the project title evaluation and feedback, with the purpose for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. His speech title is Adversity is the Best Teacher. Timer, please note that the green card has to be shown after the completion of 5 minutes, and the yellow card has to be shown after the completion of 6 minutes, and the red card has to be shown after the completion of 7 minutes. By the way, his pathway is visionary communication. I wish the speaker all the very best, and I guess he will make this evening pretty extended. Over to the leader.
Introducing Toastmaster Faiz Kamil, who is an engineer and currently pursuing MBA. When I asked him the question, one thing he procrastinated and regret till date, his answer was during his JE preparation period. Calling Toastmaster Faiz Kamil with his speech title, Adversity is the Best Teacher. Adversity is the best teacher, Toastmaster Faiz Kamil.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster and Jill, for a nice introduction. Anybody can confirm if I'm audible and visible clearly?
Yes, you're audible and visible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Well, it feels great to be back here after a long time and seeing all these beautiful smiling faces and some of the new faces I can see today. Well, today I would like to talk about something which I have learned from my recent past. In the month of June, when things was hunky-dory for me, and I was all set for my next speech here at Toastmaster, all of a sudden I got a call from my uncle just to get a most horrible shock of my life. My father had suffered severe paralysis attack and became immobile. At first, my body, my mind froze and could not comprehend what I just heard. I immediately rushed back to my hometown, and then my eyes witnessed the most unforgettable sight of my life. A giant tree, the most strongest man I knew in my life, was lying on a hospital bed with a lifeless right side of body. My whole world felt like falling in front of me. The man who never depended on anyone for anything had all of a sudden became dependent for the smallest things like brushing his teeth or moving on his bed. From there on, I had a sleepless night for over a month. I put all my might just to see that man stand up and stand up tall again. And from there on, it was very overwhelming, emotionally, physically, mentally draining for me. But finally, with a long struggle and suffering, he's getting back, thankfully, on his feet. And then from there, I came back to Delhi, and I was trying to adjust myself back to my normal life, back to my hustle. But I kind of lost all my motivation and energy for the dream on which I was working since very long. Even I tried to stand up for a role in a last meeting, but at the last moment, I had to ask to assign that role to somebody else. Because I didn't have energy even to utter a word from my mouth or move from my bed. But as we all know that motivation can come from anywhere. It happened to me as well. One fine evening, I was scrolling through my Instagram feed. There I saw a post from Central Delhi Toastmaster. I saw a name of Toastmaster Zubez there. it was a result from a last meeting. So it was a name of Zubair in a best speaker role. So I was like, wow, fantastic. You know why? Because me and Zubair have joined this club at the same time. So I immediately contacted Madam President of the club, and I said that I want to come back, and please assign me any role. I want to come back. So that's how I'm back, standing in front of you guys and speaking my heart out today. I would like to thank Toastmaster Zubair for unintentionally motivating me. And in hindsight, when I remember and when I reflect on those days, I remember all those small acts of kindness from family, friends, strangers even. I remember how it comforted me, calmed me throughout those situations. I believe we all are fighting our own silent battle in our life, and being little compassionate, kind with each other, we can make our journey little less painful. Though those days were nightmare for me, and it still give me nightmare. But I feel like it made me a little more mature, a little more mentally stable and sensitive, and a little more sensitive and a little more sensitive. And as the very famous saying is that what doesn't break you, it's a very cliche saying, what doesn't break you makes you stronger. So I feel like now it did. And at the end, I would like to mention that what adversity has taught me is that be grateful when things are good and be graceful when things are not going your way. Thank you, Toastmaster, for the day. Over to you. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Faiz Kamil. I would like to request everyone to kindly give the feedback in the chat box. Techmaster is also requested to please launch the poll for the best speaker.
The polls are now on everyone's screens. We have 3 speakers today: Toastmaster Samkit, Distinguished Toastmaster Deepak Menon, and Toastmaster Faiz Kamil. Please vote for the best speaker. All the guests and the members are requested to vote. A few more votes left, so let's wait for 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Okay, before we move on to the table topic segment, let me tell you an interesting story based on frog's behavior or attitude. Of course, we all carry the same behavior as with the frog. We procrastinate and don't take the right decision at the right time. And when due to procrastination, we suffer any loss, we regret. But again, when the same situation arises, we do the same thing, we procrastinate. Our elders usually teaches us or reminds us to learn from our own mistakes. But this is something we are not ready to unlearn. This is the one thing that I believe. It is very well true that the harder it is to adopt a new habit, the harder it is to adopt a new habit, the more difficult it is to give up a bad one. Don't you all agree with this? Give me a thumbs up if you all agree. No. Allow me to share the screen. Okay. So the story goes like this. If you take a frog and put it into a vessel of water, and then you start heating the water, as the temperature of water rises, the frog starts to adjust its body temperature. Yes, he can do so. And the frog keeps on adjusting its body temperature with the increase in temperature. But when the temperature of water surpasses its tolerating capacity and it is not able to do so, it tries to jump out of the water, but unfortunately unable to do so. The reason is because it has lost all its strength in adjusting its temperature. But when it decides, it's too late and eventually it dies. So what do you think killed that frog? Boiling water or the inability to decide when to jump out of water? Of course, we all will say that the second one, the inability to decide when to jump out of the water. But don't we realize that we are also doing the same thing? These are the little learnings from these creatures. We can invite their experiences into our life to have a better future. Now coming to the table topic segment, which is also impromptu segment, where members can practice thinking and speaking on their feet. Here guests are encouraged to participate, calling on virtual stage the host of this round, very young and dynamic Toastmaster Kavya Seth, who works for a product company in Gurgaon. Toastmaster Kavya, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. And a very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Welcome to the most awaited and exciting segment, especially for the guests, as you all get an opportunity to participate. I'm Kavya, and I'll be the table topics master for today. Now, impromptu speaking can seem little intimidating, as one may have difficulty of thinking of what to say or formulating ideas once you're called to speak. But don't you worry. A strategy that you can follow is to start off by making a point, one, describe your reason for that point, two, give examples, and finally conclude. So I encourage everyone, especially the guests and Toastmasters with no roles, to volunteer for speaking by raising their hands. For this segment, I will share a topic to the speaker and they have to give an impromptu speech for at least 1 minute. Please note that the timer will show cards to help you keep track of time. A green card will be shown at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5, and red card at 2 minutes. The speaker has buffer time of 30 seconds only on the upper hand, which means they can speak for up to 2.5 minutes. I would request an experienced Toastmaster to come forward as the first speaker so that the guests can better understand the format. So let's have our first speaker. Please raise your hands and volunteer. Anybody? Anybody? You can raise your hands virtually or physically. Okay.
Ritwik is raising his hand.
Okay. So Ritwik, topic for today would be avoiding guilt after procrastinating work. Avoiding guilt after procrastinating work, Ritwik, TM Ritwik.
But can you tell me one thing? Is it really possible to go back in the past now after all has happened? It's not, right? That's what I would suggest. So how to avoid this guilt? Just have this mentality. I cannot go to the past. There isn't any time machine. So our commitment should be to look forward in future and go forward and never to repeat our mistakes. कल करे जो आज कर, आज करे तो अब. This saying from Kabir basically means, what do I want to do tomorrow, I'll be doing it today. What I should do today, that I'll be doing it right now. So with this saying, let's move forward. Let's not again go into this trap of procrastination and not have this guilt again. For having guilt won't help us in the present, but having a learning can actually help us in moving forward in future. And who knows, it can bring up an ecstatic future of us. The same way, I would tell you No one in this world ever loses. Yeah, you heard it right. No one in this world ever loses. Either they win or they learn. So that's your choice. What do you want to do? To win or to lose, or to win or to learn? I will prefer to learn from my mistakes, since I believe failures are the pillars of success is an incomplete statement. Rather, I must say, failures who realize their mistakes are the pillars of success. So, on this note, in this ecstatic evening, let me tell you, take this thing in your mind, emulate this saying in your mind that yes, we should not procrastinate the next time, for we never lose. We either win or we learn. Over to the TTM.
That was an amazing and inspiring impromptu speech. Well done, TM Ritwik. I would now like to invite any other guest from today's meeting. I see guest Rajat. Would you like to come up to the virtual stage?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, okay, great. So the topic for guest Rajat is learnings from COVID. Learnings from COVID, guest Rajat.
Thank you so much for providing me this topic. So, learnings from COVID, of course. From past 1.5 year, we all are going through somewhat different phases of life, and we have seen this phase that we haven't experienced till now in our life. So I think that we have learned a lot of things from this COVID situations, like how we should be always be prepared for anything that can be happen. We none of us were ready for this situation, that anything like that this can be happening to us. So we should be always ready, making ourselves fit and wealthy towards like anything can be possible. So like from business perspective, from IT perspective, from jobs perspective, from your body perspective, from your health perspective, from each and every perspective, we all should be always ready that anything can become in front of us, so we should be able to handle that situations. And also after this pandemic, so we all get to know about that it's how we can digitally also can make ourselves continue ourselves progress also. So like is in like Toastmasters also. So earlier the meeting used to be offline, where each and every people used to be gathering offline, gathering physically, meeting each other, and also they were talking to each other physically. But now after this pandemic also, we try to come upon on the Zoom platform also, and I think we all are meeting over here, and we are not stopping ourselves. We are continuing our journey, we are continuing our learning also over here. So it's like that if we want to improve ourselves, if we want to grow ourselves, then there is nothing like which is going to stop us. So we have to motivate ourselves and always be ready that in any situation we should be making good for us only. So these are the few things that I learned from the COVID. Over to you.
Thank you, guest Rajat. I think change is the only constant, and if we do not adapt, we would not be able to grow. And that is, I think, what guest Rajat also wanted to mention. I would now like to invite TM Pooja. I saw her raising hand. TM Pooja, would you like to go next?
Yes, sure.
Okay, okay. So TM Pooja, your topic is your favorite smartphone app. Your favorite smartphone app, TM Pooja.
Thank you so much for the topic. That's a lovely topic. So my favorite smartphone app is, well, that's not my favorite, but it's necessity for me, and that is WhatsApp, because from there I get my entertainment, from there I get my work, as well as I can socialize and network. I think it's a great application that has been created where we can do multiple things. It depends on an individual how one is using that app. So it's very rightly said that one can either like completely get drained in this kind of an application, or can make the most of it by using it in a more productive way. So WhatsApp is one of my favorite app where I try to make the most of it by so most of my business conversations happen through WhatsApp. I get all the Toastmasters updates in WhatsApp. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I remember when WhatsApp was launched, it was like a game changer. So yes, it is definitely a necessity. Thank you, TM Pooja. Any other guests that would like to come to the virtual stage? Guest Aparna?
Next time, ma'am.
Okay, next time. Guest Siddharth, would you like to come onto the stage?
Sure.
Okay, okay. So, guest Siddharth, the topic for you is qualities of an icon or a role model that you follow. Qualities of an icon or a role model that you follow. Guest Siddharth.
So an icon, in my opinion, should be someone who can, inspire people. In my opinion, making oneself successful is probably not enough. Giving back to the society makes a lot of sense to me myself. So let's say a cricketer who is very famous, who's done very well in his uh, career and has done country proud. Uh, Definitely, he's a great cricketer or a great sportsman and did a lot of for the country. But as personally, as an icon, I would like to, I will appreciate him. I will of course praise him. But those are not the only qualities I will see. I will see the one who is modest at that level, giving back to the society and doing something in whatever capacity one can do. So those are the kind of things I would look in people. So whatever they have learned over the time, they can make other learn and give them the right path. So eventually we are all social animals, and the one who has upper hand should basically help others and take them to the next level. So for me, and that's the probably only quality I would be looking. So if one does that, I mean that guy is enough to idealize for me. That is it.
Okay. Thank you, guest Siddharth. Thank you for showing that courage to come onto the stage to share your thoughts with us. Now, I also saw guest Shanti. Would you like to come onto the virtual stage?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Guest Shanti, your topic is your take on online learning. Your take on online learning, guest Shanti.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, online learning, I think it has, in fact, it's something that's very close to me because I am an online teacher already. And I believe one of the biggest reasons that online teaching is a big thing these days is because obviously you can learn anywhere and also anytime, right? And it is becoming an object of convenience, especially for people who have other kind of jobs. Like if you're going to a college and you want to learn something else and you have an evening class, let's say you want to learn guitar or something, and let's say there was an evening class and you would not be able to attend because you had an extra class or you have an exam tomorrow or something. So it will be easier for you to just attend it at a time when it is more convenient, right? And not only that, it has become it's remote, right? So right now I am sitting in Delhi and I would not be able to reach out to someone who is living very far off or who is in a rural area or something like that. So for those kind of people, it becomes easier for learning content which is of quality. Previously it used to be like if you're living in a remote area, village or something, then a quality education would become difficult for you. But now, because of the rise of these online education apps, it is possible to have a quality education from anytime, anywhere. So yes, I think online education, but at the same time I've observed that offline education has its own things. So we should, as teachers as well as students, try to get a mix of both of them, like a balance both of them, so that you can get the best out of both. Thank you.
Thank you, TM Shanti. Indeed, I think online learning has its own merits and demerits, and so offline. Everybody I talk to, they really miss going to either school, college, or office. I mean, if I talk about myself, I miss going to the office. So a lot of learnings, it happens in the workplace as well. When you talk to your leaders, when you are in a circle where you learn new things about something that you don't read often, but there are others who read about it and you gain knowledge from that. I think that's very important, and which was there in an offline setup, but not in an online setup. I would like to call upon another member. Please, anybody who would like to come on stage. I think there is one guest. Arsh, would you like to come up?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Arsh, so topic for you is your favorite your favorite series. Your
Your
favorite
favorites?
series?
Okay.
Series. Yes. Yes.
So, though I am not a person who likes to watch TV and web series and all that movies, but I feel that there are some movies which are made to be watched and they should not be missed out. For example, I watched this series last December. It was Scam 1992, and I liked it a lot because it was having a person, a character who was there, who was hustling a lot, and he wished to reach a stage where he can show everyone that he can also do anything in his life, and he showed us that what we can also do. So I feel that that was a series which I liked a lot in the last year, and apart from that, I haven't watched anything. So yeah, I like that one.
Okay, maybe you can talk about a cartoon or a cartoon character that you really liked in your childhood days.
So I have time.
I mean, if you want to, otherwise we can conclude.
So how much time do I have?
You have 1 more minute.
Okay, okay. So yeah, one more series. It was Ray, and it had 4 parts. The first part I liked a lot, and the rest parts you can ignore them. So the first part was a kind of simultaneous series in which everything was happening simultaneously, and there were two different things happening at the same time. So I liked that a lot, and there was horror, there was comedy, there was betrayal, there was deceptions. So I liked that a lot. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot, Harsh for being such a sport. So with that, kudos to all the participants for their active participation. Now, I would request the Tech Master to kindly release the polls for the best impromptu speaker.
The polls are now on everyone's screens, and we had 6 speakers today, something that's very unusual with our tight schedule. So let's vote for the best table topic speaker. We had 3 guests and 3 Toastmasters participating today. 85% votes in. Let's wait for another 5 seconds. Thank you. Back to the table topics master.
Thank you. So I would want you all to keep practicing and you will only get better. I can assure you of that. With this, I sign off and back to TMOD.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kavya. That was indeed a wonderful session. Let me share with my level of procrastination. Last night, I watched a movie named Chak De India. After watching the last scene of the movie, I feel really charged, motivated, and determined. I set a goal into my mind that I'll wake up tomorrow morning at 6 p.m., 6 a.m., sorry. Soon I'll change it to 5:30 a.m., then to 5 a.m. because 5 a.m. is considered as the Brahma Muhurat, and it will take a month to shift to 5 a.m. But definitely I'm gonna do it. So I set 3 alarms, one at 5:45 a.m., another at 5:50 a.m., and the last one at 5:55 a.m. Anyhow, I miss one alarm. The second is there. Second alarm I missed. The third one is there. So let's see what I did. When the first alarm rang, I turned it off, thinking that there are still 15 minutes. Let me sleep 5 more minutes. Then the second alarm rang. It was 5:50. Let's sleep for 5 more minutes. It won't matter much. Then 5:55. I was really tired. I switched off and went to sleep. By the time I woke up, it was 9 a.m. When I realized I was too late, I regretted. But again, the next day, the same thing happened. So that is my level of procrastination. Hope it seems familiar to you all. Can you please respond? There are so many people who are like me. Okay, now coming to the last session, which is the evaluation segment, which is done by General Evaluator Toastmaster Joe Rao and his team. Toastmaster Joe, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Let's have a big round of applause for our wonderful Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. As a general evaluator, I'll be evaluating the whole session right from the beginning till the end of the speech. And today we have some wonderful speeches, both by our prepared speakers and impromptu speakers. In fact, I was ecstatic after hearing these speeches. And since general evaluation is a huge task, I cannot do it myself. I have a fantastic team with me, which is the evaluation team. So first, I would like to call upon my first evaluator, Toastmaster Zubair, to evaluate Toastmaster Samkit. Toastmaster Zubair, could you please come onto the podium?
Congratulations, TM Sanket. That was really wonderful. I must say, you have checked many of my checklists. First of all, I would like to say the background. The background immediately removed many of the distractions from the background, and it really connected us to the theme. Second up is the confidence that the speaker showed in the starting. I really like the confidence considering his icebreaker. Second up is that speaker didn't use any reference. He was very well prepared, and I really like that. In the initial stage of the speech, the speaker was really using his hand gestures and was looking very confident. But as the minutes passed by, he was looking a little shaky. But that's all right, considering your icebreaker. I I really felt that the speech was going a bit fast. One recommendation that speak as if you are writing something. Speak in the pace that you are writing something. That will be easier for the audience to understand your words. And there should be more use of pauses that I didn't find in the speech. Second, the speaker was using vocal variety in the beginning, but as the speech proceeded, the speech was going on the same tone. Second, although the speaker was using hand gestures, but a small tip that your hands was facing like this, it should be a bit more open. It looks more welcoming and looks like you are open to the audience. Kudos to the speaker. It was his icebreaker, and I must say that if you look at the YouTube recording, you did a really god level of speech. The speaker was standing, and that's really good for a new speaker because we could see his hand gestures and expressions very well. And second, the speech structure was really remarkable. The inclusion of the life experiences and his learning from the speech were really good. And we wish such incredible speakers come up more in his next speeches. Thank you. Back to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Zubair, for that wonderful evaluation. Now I would like to call upon Toastmaster Gajendra to evaluate distinguished Toastmaster Deepak. Toastmaster Gajendra, the podium is all yours.
I don't want to evaluate, and I don't want to be a Toastmaster. I am reminding my days when I have joined the Toastmaster in 2014, and I used to face a public speaking fear. I was not able to speak properly, and someone came forward and I got the magical powers, and I was inspired, and since then it is a way of my life. Today, speaker drove me to my memory lane. It's a very good thing when you start something like that. I don't want to be a Toastmasters. It created your audience attention, and I was hooked up. And it's a very best thing to start and to drag the audience into your speech. Storytelling is a best way to capture the people's attention, big information, and drop them into the memory lane and make a personal bond. So today, what this speaker did perfectly the same. Now coming on to the project objective. The project objective was the storytelling, and to create a story of his personal experience or any story and to make an impact. There was a character, the two characters, Deepak sir and the Ria. There was a conflict. Ria was conflicting with his thought because she was not giving the proper feedback. And the climax was she was not at all ready to join the Toastmasters. She wanted to quit. And the catastrophic resolution of that particular problem took to the another level where another veteran has given the feedback and then she's a Toastmaster. The perfect, well-crafted speech, a story flows perfectly with the overall content to contribute to an exemplary speech. And what I like about the speech, there was a lot of things to comment on. The voice modulation. When he says the tears flowing down from her face, cheeks, and she was sobbing, something. So there was a perfect voice modulation to convey the emotion and the feeling. Appropriate pause to enhance the message of the speech. Why I say this, when he says, then this kind of feedback, when he starts saying this, he took a pause, the speaker took a pause and delivered this kind of feedback or the treatment will make you or break you. It is very difficult to give the feedback like a veteran speaker like DTM Deepak Menon, but I would like to give one recommendation, that is to use the personal story to what is your magical speech to drag Ria to another meeting, and what so that you would not have to work on to drag Ria and to convince her to another meeting, because you can tell your story to Ria and she would be there, she would follow your advice. So that is only the recommendation. There was all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed. It was a very confident, great eye contact. You appear so comfortably on the speech, good hand gesture, and the takeaway personally, I have that magical powers to inspire someone, and I'm going to use it for sure. Over to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gajendra, for that wonderful evaluation. Now moving on to the third evaluator, Toastmaster Ritwik. If you could please come onto the podium and do the evaluation for Toastmaster Fails. Toastmaster Ritwik, the podium is all yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for the recognition. Well, I must say, the speaker drove me ecstatic by his consummate communication skills, given the fact I saw him in a standing position all throughout his speech, which conveys the message of the seriousness he put into the speech. The speaker's voice tone that I observed carried his emotions. and convey the message he wanted to convey. I observed that when he was telling, the strongest man had come on bed. Wow, the speaker proved his way of using hand movements to carry his emotions. Dream is long. I observed that and I really felt good about that. I have observed a good vocabulary and general knowledge also in the speech, in the content of the speech. There was a saying, what doesn't break you makes you stronger. But given the fact we in Toastmasters believe in making a good speech a better one the next time, here are my share of recommendations which I have for you. I have observed some unusual pauses in your speech. Maybe if the speaker has a check on it, the speech will be better in the next time. I observed the camera angle at a lower position. I request a speaker to have that camera angle horizontal to the eyes the next time. And I saw a lack of energy while he was saying, that's how I came back to the club. The speaker, I want the speaker to speak it this way. And that's how I come to this club now. To carry this energy is something I want to challenge the speaker to have in his next meetings. There were some unusual hand movements which I observed, but with all of this, the speaker has presented a very emotional story, a very complete story, and has been able to fulfill his purpose of introducing himself and learning the basic structure of a public speech. Over to the G.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ritwik, for that wonderful evaluation. Now, can we please have the timer report for the evaluators? Toastmaster Rashmi, if you could please share the evaluation timer report.
Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters. Well, I'm feeling really ecstatic because this is the timer's role, which I have never ever wanted to take because of so many fears that lurk in my mind. Simultaneously timing and showing the cards and then noting down time. And I did mistake once today also, but somehow at least I tried it. So I'm applauding myself only for that. And without procrastinating, let me tell you the time taken by the speakers. TM Sanket Jain, who gave an icebreaker speech, took 5 minutes 16 seconds. TM Deepak Menon sir took 7 minutes 30 seconds. TM Faz took 5 minutes 49 seconds. Evaluator 1, that is TM Zubair, took 2 minutes 29 seconds. Evaluator 2, TM Rajendra Khare, took 3 minutes 22 seconds. And TM Ritwik, Evaluator 3, took 2 minutes 30 seconds. Coming to table topic section, Speaker 1, TM Ritwik, took 2 minutes 10 seconds. Guest Rajat took 1 minute 52 seconds. TM Pooja Kuteja took 1 minute 9 seconds. Guest Siddharth almost qualified by taking 1 minute. TM Shanti took 1 minute 45 seconds. And guest Ursh took 1 minute 51 seconds. That's all from my side. Thank you very much, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rashmi, for that detailed report. Since all the evaluators have qualified, now can we have the polling for the best evaluators?
Polls are now on everyone's screens. Let's vote for the best evaluator from Toastmaster Zubair, Toastmaster Gajendra Khare, and Toastmaster Ritwik Dash. And we have all the votes. Thank you.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Now coming on to my evaluation of the evaluators. First is Toastmaster Zubair. So I liked I liked your evaluation, but I have two recommendations for you. One is that when you are doing the evaluation, I think you should first welcome the Toastmasters and the guests. Saying good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, and Toastmaster Samkit in particular. I think you should say that either right in the beginning or just after your first quote or first line. That's, I think, is very, very important in Toastmasters. So I think maybe that you missed today. That's one suggestion for you. And then one more suggestion is that after you finish your commendations and recommendations, you should summarize it for the speaker. So that is something which the speaker can take away with him. So I think that was missing today in your evaluation. So if you could just take care of that, you did a wonderful job. Let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Zubair. Now moving on to the second evaluator, Toastmaster Gajendra. Again, excellent evaluation given that the speaker was excellent in excellent speech today. It was a very, very difficult one to evaluate. But I think you did an excellent job. Again, just one recommendation for you was again the welcome. You should welcome Toastmasters and guests when you are speaking because you are addressing the audience. That was the only recommendation from my side. Otherwise, great job done. Let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Gajendra. Okay, I just missed one thing that was for the first speaker. Also, I had one recommendation. I mean, it was his icebreaker speech. It was excellent, but I have just one recommendation for him. And that was, I was seeing that his hands were together. I mean, that's a sign of nervousness, that's fine. But that's one recommendation. If you keep on coming onto the stage more and more, you will definitely get better and those hands will open up. So that was my only recommendation for the speaker, which I missed. Sorry. Now coming on to the second speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Deepak. Again, very, very difficult to give any recommendations as such. There were a huge number of commendations only. But I have one small recommendation. And that is, if you could just stand up and deliver. I mean, I'm not saying just because you did not stand up. My only reason is that you're such an excellent speaker, excellent voice modulation, excellent body movement. If you could have just stood up, then what would have happened is that you would have played both the roles of Ria and you yourself. And that way you could have shown more body movements of both Ria and you. So that would have come out much better. It was already a brilliant speech, but that one thing would have taken it one notch higher. That would be my only recommendation for distinguished Toastmaster Deepak. Let's have a big round of applause for distinguished Toastmaster Deepak. Now moving on to the next evaluator, Toastmaster Ritwik. Again, excellent evaluation, commendations, recommendations, commendations. Job very well done. And the best thing I liked about your evaluation was you had an excellent transition from commendations to recommendations, which is very, very important in a contest. So I think you did that brilliantly. But I have only one recommendation for you, and that is the summary. You didn't summarize up well in the end. That would be my only suggestion for you. Your commendations, recommendations, and commendations, if you could summarize at the end, job very well done. Let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Ritwik. Now coming on to Toastmaster Fairs, a brilliant speech, just one recommendation for you. All the commendations have been covered by Ritwik. Just one thing which I felt was your front and back movement. So what I felt was that movement that you had, which was by default front and back movement, which was not required for the speech. So that would be my only recommendation for the speaker. Otherwise, job well done. Let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Fairs. Now moving on to the table topic master, Toastmaster Kavya. Okay, I loved your topics. They were brilliant topics. You explained why table topics is important. The topics were good because everybody could relate to it. And most of them were related to the theme of the day. So that was very well done. The other thing I liked was you are requesting the guests to come onto the stage. So that's what the Toastmasters say, that you request the guests whether they would like to come onto the stage or not, which you did brilliantly. So job very well done. And at the end, again, you summarized up about table topics. Very well done. I just have one recommendation for you. And that was when you were talking about the rules in the beginning. There's one rule which I think you missed was you should have mentioned that the guests can change the topic once if they want, and the table topics, and the Toastmasters cannot. That would be my only recommendation. Otherwise, job very well done. Let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Kavya. Now, moving on to the overall session, or is it? How do you do it in this club? Do you call the auxiliary role players now, or do you do it at the end? Presiding officer, if you could please help me on this.
Yes, we would call the auxiliary role players now.
Thank you so much, presiding officer. So now I would like to call upon the timer, Toastmaster Rashmi, to please share her report, which I think she's already done when I called upon for the evaluation report. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Rashmi, for sharing your report. Let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Rashmi. There's only one recommendation for you, Toastmaster Rashmi, was when you were talking about the rules, about the timings. For the evaluation section, you said 2 to 3 minutes, but I think you forgot to mention that 30 seconds grace time on both the upper and lower ends. That would be my only recommendation. Otherwise, job very well done. Let's have a big round of applause for the timer, Toastmaster Rashmi. Now moving on to the R counter, Toastmaster Sanchit. If you could please come onto the podium and share your report. Thank you so much.
Yeah. The procrastination, action of delaying or postponing something. But why? Because is it so boring? Or is it like mountain? It can be stopped. It can be stopped just by adding new actions, new habits in the place of bad habits. Just by 4 practical ways which I learned from James Clear. First, make it obvious, make it satisfying, make it easy, make it attractive, make it enthusiastic. So I'm going to present my report. Let me share screen. So the report is here. The filler words, the filler sound R were used by TMOD Anshul 2 times, by TM Pooja 1 in initial stage and 3 times in table topic. TM Abhishek used the filler sound R 4 times. TM Phase used filler sound 12 times. TM Zubair 6 times. TM Gajendra 3 and 5 times. That means 8 times. Rajat used 7 times. Siddharth used 6 times. Ursh used 1 time. And there were some repetitive words as well. TM Praveen used 1 time. TM Faiz used 3 times. Rajat used 1 time. And Siddharth used 3 times. And there was also long and short pauses. There were some short pauses used by TMOD Anshul, long pauses by TM Faiz. That's it, my report. So here, the very basic aim of the speaker is to captivate the attention of the audience by his words, by his sentence framing, by his gestures, by his hand movement. And if while communicating the words like you gonna be, let me, these words, if used in the communication, may disconnect the audience with the emotions of the speaker. So we would not use these kind of words and we can establish a good communication. So this is all, and I would urge in the last all of you that please don't use these words in your daily communication as well, because small steps can make a big step. Small awareness of these words can aware ourselves more that we should not use these words anymore in future. Thank you. Back to General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sanjit, for that detailed report. Let's have a big round of applause for the R counter of the day. Moving next to the grammarian or language evaluator, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Sparshita onto the podium to
Thank you
Hello.
so much, General Evaluator. So I'll start with the people who use the word of the day actively in the meeting. So TM Shivangi has used the word twice. TM Deepak has used the word once. TM Ritwik has used the word thrice. TM Joy has used the word once, and TM Rashmi has also used the word once. Now coming to some of the good usages in the meeting. So TM Samkit has used the words like notorious and applause. TM Deepak has used the words laundry list, some will note, sobbing. TM Faiz has used the words like adversity, overwhelming, cliche, and he also used a metaphor for his father, which was a giant tree. TM Achal has used the words like surpass. TM Zubair has used the words incredible. Now coming to some of the grammatical errors made in the meeting. So TM Pooja Bhaduria has used a sentence like people who want to talk about religion, sex and politics, they should be little sensitive, but it should be a little sensitive, because when we use little as an adjective, so little means almost negligible, and hence it must be a little. Coming to TM Praveen, he used a sentence like that was a pizza delivery boy, but we don't use that for a human being, and it should have been he was the pizza delivery boy. TM Samkit has pronounced one word wrong, which was devote. He pronounced it devote, but it should be to devote time. TM Achal has used a sentence like, but he don't procrastinate, but it should be he doesn't, because we use does not with a singular. TM Deepak has used a sentence like earlier, but it must be an earlier. TM Faiz has pronounced one word wrong, which was immobile. He pronounced it immobile, but it should have been immobile. TM Achal has used a sentence like our elders teaches us and guides us, but it should be teach and guide us, because we don't use S and ES with singular. Guest Rajat has used a sentence like none of us were ready, but it should have been none of us was ready, because when we talk about none of us, then we are talking about a singular person. TM Achal has used the sentence like I feel determined, but it should have been I felt determined after watching the picture. TM Gajendra has used a sentence like very best, but we can't put these two words together. It could have been either best or very good. And TM Sanchit has used a sentence like disconnect with, but it should have been disconnect from. That's all with my report. And with this, I encourage everyone to keep learning, to keep adding new words to your vocabulary, and particularly using the word of the day frequently in the future. Thank you so much. Back to G.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sparshita, for such a detailed report. Thank you so much. We'll work on our language. Moving on next to Toastmaster Pooja, the parliamentarian, to please share her report.
Good evening, everyone, once again. So overall meeting went very smooth. All the mics were muted. There were no interruptions in between, and all the protocols were followed. There were no controversial topics discussed. However, I noticed few videos were not switched on, which should be taken care of in future. And congratulations to all the speakers. There were no violations of any major rule. And yeah, that was my report. Thank you, and back to G.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pooja, for that report. Now moving on to the listener, Toastmaster Abhishek, if you could please come onto the podium and check our listening skills.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone have listened carefully to all the speakers, and now it's time to check your listening skills. I'm sharing my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Welcome, Toastmasters. Can you quickly confirm? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
we can.
Okay. So welcome, Toastmaster, to my show, Who is the Best Listeners? Only learning, no cash rewards. To participate, you have to simply raise your hand, or you can use your virtual hand. So here comes your first question. TM Samkrit is a fan of which football club? A, FC Barcelona, FC Manchester United. Deepak Menon.
FC Barcelona.
Yes. The correct answer is FC Barcelona. Yeah. Here comes the question 2. What is the profession of guest Aparna? A, software profession. B, education professional. Timer Rashmi. Would you like to? Sorry, you're on mute, Rashmi.
It's software professional.
Are you sure?
Yes. No, I guessed upon.
No, it's
No, she's an
educational professional. Okay, moving to the next question. What is the title of TM Deepak Menon speech? The Magical Power, or option B, The Power of Magic? Joke Master Parveen, would you like to try?
Yes, it is The Magical Power.
Yes, you are correct. The Magical Power. Coming to the fourth question, which app is TM Pooja's favorite mobile app? Is it Swiggy or it's WhatsApp? Team Anchal,
WhatsApp.
are you sure? Is it
Yes.
WhatsApp?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's WhatsApp. Great. The final question is, in Joke Master session, to whom the CEO of company gave money to? A, employee. B, pizza delivery person. Rajat, guest Rajat, do you want to try?
Option B, pizza delivery person.
Yes, you are correct. Great. Thank you, everyone. This is all from my side. I hope you have learned a lot of new things today. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhishek. I think we got it, most of the things we got it right. So I think we are great listeners, going to become great speakers. Let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Abhishek. Now, Joke Master Praveen, I missed you there, but yeah, that joke was interesting because even the listener had made a question out of it. So let's have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Praveen. I think with this, I've come to the end of my evaluation. There is one change that I would like to make, and that is I had given a recommendation to Toastmaster Kavya about explaining this rule about just changing the topic once. And I'm being told that that's not the rule. So I would like to take that recommendation back, and that's all. My apologies for telling you that you can change the topic once for the guests. So that was my one recommendation that I would like to take back. With that, I've come to the end of my evaluation. I would like to give back the podium to the presiding officer. If I have missed anyone. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I missed the Toastmaster of the day. Is that?
Yeah, I was waiting for
right?
that.
I'm so sorry. Getting
waiting.
old. Yeah, Toastmaster Anchal, procrastination. I think something which everybody can relate. I think this is something which everybody has done in the past and everybody will do in the future, and it's very relevant. But what I liked is you gave all the perils and disadvantages of it, right? From time, money, family, losing opportunities. You gave many examples about frog, etc. So I think that was very well done. I have just one small recommendation for you, and that is audience interaction. So what I felt personally is that the Toastmaster of the day, you should have more interaction with the guests. So the same topic on procrastination, you could have asked more questions to the guests and the members. So that way there would be more interaction as such. Besides this, job very well done. No recommendations for you. Let's have a very big round of applause for Toastmaster of the day. With this, I would like to hand over the podium back to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Shivangi. Toastmaster Shivangi, the podium is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joe. Well, let's have the polls for the best auxiliary role player. I would request everyone to vote for the best role player. 6 role players today: the timer Toastmaster Rashmi, language evaluator Toastmaster Sparshita, our counter Toastmaster Sanchit, the parliamentarian Toastmaster Pooja, the listener Toastmaster Abhishek, and the joke master Toastmaster Praveen.
I think TMOD has to conclude the session.
Yes, so let's have the TMOD's conclusion after the polls. All right, thank you everyone. I would like to request the TMOD to come up on the virtual stage.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shivangi. Now to conclude, procrastination is a debilitating illness that can rob you of your success, both in studies and your career. Starting work early will not cost you anything, but rather can help you in doing your job better and more efficiently. Submitting an assignment or job before the due date may give you a chance to modify your work based on the feedback from your teacher or supervisor. So remember, for your own behoof, do not procrastinate. Always be proactive. Well, some of you might be waiting for the solutions to get rid of procrastination. Don't worry, I'll share them in my next role. Just like we see any serial finishing with a suspense, so that you can keep waiting for the next episode. Let's wait for my next role, probably as a speaker. Now, it's time to say goodbye, my friends. It's time to say goodbye, my friends. It's time to say goodbye with a big bright smile. It's time to say goodbye, my friends. Goodbye from my side. Over to you, President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rachel, for that ecstatic energy and a productive theme of the day. Well, let's launch the polls for the best role player. So we had 3 role players today: the TM Moody Toastmaster Achal, the Table Topics Master Toastmaster Kavya, and the General Evaluator Toastmaster Jo Rao. And right now, it's a tie between all 3 role players. So we need more votes. We need all the guests, all the members to cast their votes. Waiting for a few more votes. It's a very close competition. And we have the results. Thank you. All right, before I announce the results, I would request all the guests to kindly stay here for a few more minutes. The guest briefing will begin shortly. So let's come to the best speaker. Any guesses about who the best speaker could be?
Deepak Menon, sir.
Deepak Menon, sir.
Deepak Menon, sir.
Yes, without a doubt, it is distinguished Toastmaster Deepak Menon. Congratulations, sir. Next, let's come to best evaluator. We had 3 evaluators today. Who could be the best? Any guesses? Was it Toastmaster Zubair, Toastmaster Khare, or Toastmaster Ritwik?
Toastmaster Khare.
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that. Okay, yes, you are right. It is Toastmaster Gajendra Khare. Congratulations, sir. Next, let's come to the best auxiliary role player. So do we need to guess who the best auxiliary role player was?
Lesbina.
Abhishek.
Yes, it was our debut role player, Toastmaster Abhishek. Congratulations, it was truly innovative. The next category is best table topic speaker. We had 6 speakers today. So we had Toastmaster Ritwik, guest Rajat, Toastmaster Pooja, guest Siddharth, Toastmaster Shanti, and guest Arsh. Any guesses?
Toastmaster Ritwik.
Okay, 1 vote for Ritwik. What about the others?
Arsh.
Okay, 1 vote for Arsh.
Ritwik.
Pooja.
TM Ritwik.
Ritwik, Pooja, all right. So our winner today is Toastmaster Ritwik. Ritwik, in the next meeting, I want you to tell me how many table topics have you won until now. I think it's one big number. Okay, now the grand prize, the best role player. Who could be the best role player between our TMOD, our table topics master, and our general evaluator?
General evaluator.
Okay, one vote from TMOD to GE. What about the others?
TMOD.
Okay, one vote from TMOD. Okay. Well, it was a tough tiebreaker, but the winner today is our general evaluator, Toastmaster Joe. Congratulations. So congratulations to all the winners. It was truly an ecstatic energy from all of our club members, from all of our guests. I would like to request you all to have the same energy in every meeting. With this, I conclude the meeting. Thank you everyone for joining in. And now, before I let you all go and have your dinners, can I please request you to turn on your cameras for a group picture? Requesting everyone to turn on their cameras, bring out their smiles. And can I also get some poses? I think the V for virtual has become boring now. So if anybody could suggest some new poses. All right, well, let's have a thumbs up.
We can also have a smiling face.
Okay,
Ecstatic.
Between thumbs up and smiling faces, you can choose. I will go with the smiling face. 3, 2, 1, and thank you. All right, so it was a great meeting. Thank you